Alright, the first four problems should have been a somewhat of a review of showing me what you knew from last year. The question asks, classify the triangle by its angles and by its sides. So in our first problem, we have a triangle with one obtuse angle. So classifying it by its angle, we would say that this is an obtuse triangle. If we were to classify it by its sides, well, I can see that I have 1, 2, 3 different side lengths, and so it would be a scalene triangle. And we could do the same basic for each of our other triangles. Again, I have an obtuse angle. Classify it by its sides. Well, I know by its sides it has two sides that are equivalent, so that would be an isosceles triangle. You get the idea. Now I want to get into looking at triangle sum theorem, because that was our focus for class today, and that's what you worked on during the ice break that you had. And the triangle sum theorem basically tells us that all three angles within a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So, if I take the 3 degree values, 21 plus 96 plus my unknown, which is x, and add them together, they should equal 180 degrees. So 21 plus 96 is 117. Now I simply have a one-step equation. So I'm going to subtract 117 from both sides. And we figure x to be 63 degrees. So my missing angle up here is 63 degrees. Let's look at 12. 12 is a little bit of a more challenging than the ones on the page, but certainly by no means was it more challenging than what you can handle, because it's the same type of problem. We have a right angle indicator here, so that means that that angle is 90 degrees. So the three angles together would be 90 degrees plus 2x minus 2 plus x plus 5. All of that has to equal 180 degrees. Now, since I have addition signs in front of the parentheses, I can drop everything out of the parentheses. 90 plus 2x minus 2 plus x plus 5 equals 180. My next step would be to combine like terms. So 90 minus 2 would be 88. Plus 5 would be 93. 2x plus x would be 3x. Equals 180. My next step would be to subtract 93 from both sides. Which would leave me with 87 equals 3x. When I divide both sides by 3, I end up with an x equaling 29. Now in the previous problem, number 10, when we found the value of x, that was our solution. That's because the angle was identified with x. On problem 12, we found the value of x to be 29, but our angles aren't identified with x alone. They're identified with an expression, x plus 5, or 2x minus 12. So in order to find those angle measures, I need to plug 29 in for x. So 29 plus 5 equals 34. So that degree measure would be 34. And I could do the same thing. I could plug 29 in for x on my top problem. 29 times 2 is 58. Minus 2 would be 56. So my three angles would be 90, 56, and 34. On the back side, I'm going to do one of the, I like to call them puzzle problems, because you have to work on finding more than just what you're looking for. In this particular problem, number 11, I gave you a hint, but I need to find a lot more information in order to get me to that question mark. And so one way of doing that would be to work backwards. In order for me to figure out the question mark, I would need to know this angle here, A. Well, I can't find A without knowing B. And since I don't have enough information yet to find B, well, let's work with that triangle and see what it will tell me. I have two given angles and an unknown, so my triangle sum theorem would tell me that 84 degrees plus 36 degrees plus B has got to equal 180. So 120 degrees plus B equals 180 degrees. So the value of B is equal to 60 degrees. It's a good practice to go ahead and start writing that value into the problem. So B is equal to 60 degrees. And the reason I write that in the problem is because that helps me to see the puzzle a little bit more clearly. I have a 90-degree angle here, and I have two angles that form that 90-degree angle. One is my 60-degree angle, and the other is my angle A. Two angles that add up to 90 degrees are complementary angles. So I have a complementary angle here. And I know that these two angles have to add up to 90 degrees. So 60 plus 30 would equal 90 degrees. Angle A is now 90 degrees. Remember when we started this problem, we said we needed the measure of angle A in order to figure out this question mark down here. So now I have enough information to figure out the question mark. I just need to finish the problem. 86 plus 30 plus my question mark, I'm going to call it X, will equal 180 degrees. Again, my triangle sum theorem tells me that three angles within a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So 86 and 30 is 116 plus X equals 180. Subtract 116 from both sides. So my X value is 64. That's my missing angle. That same process will be used for problem 12, but you got to find your starting point and your ending point, and use what information you know to label as much as you can on your image. Hopefully you're able to use this as a starting point for finishing up this homework assignment. Have a good evening.